the Super Bowl in mind, Paul. But, I mean, realistically, that's unrealistic with what they have coming back, the salary cap situation. I mean, they need a running back. They need an offensive line right there. They probably could use another receiver, losing Juju Smith-Schuster. Their defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense, right? But offensively, they need to do a lot, in my opinion, I think.
Is there defense if you take Joe Hayden and Bud Dupree out of the equation, which, is a possibility? I mean, now all of a sudden their defense looks completely different. And, I know the Highsmith kid played reasonably well, but there was a clear drop-off when Bud Dupree was out, and when Bud Dupree was playing. And the other thing is we saw when Bud Dupree went out that T.J. Watt was a little bit less productive. So at the end of the day, they've got some real work to do if they really want to try and be a Super Bowl team. My question is, are they willing to do it? That would ask them to go completely against their nature and go completely against the way they've operated for since Chuck Noll got here. So to me, I've said it before, Rich. I thought bringing Ben Roethlisberger back was a bad decision for the reason that you just said. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. And if they're not a Super Bowl team, what are you doing? So they're 9-8, or 8-8 or 9-8. What are they playing? 17 games next year? 16,
So you want them to be bad. If Mason Rudolph there, maybe they could draft a quarterback, or you could see what Mason Rudolph can do as as the guy again. I think this is a big. Even though I want to, Ben's probably their best option, but I'd like to see them move on maybe and see what they can do. I mean, you have a new offensive coordinator, so obviously the offensive coordinator can't put his fingerprints on everything because Ben's not going to want to change the offense. So you're going to have the same offense basically next year. So I think it's setting the Steelers back a year. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team as is, like you said. They need a lot. Maybe they're a playoff team, but I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. Let's go out to Matt and Butler. How you doing, Matt?
The program. Hey, I got a comment and a question. Based upon everything I've seen, it seems like Mason Rudolph isn't part of the future. The Steelers, if they had any hope in them, they'd say, okay, now's the time. Your feedback on that, and then the question that I have is, given Ben's contract, who has the power or the leverage in the negotiations? Is it really Ben, or is it the Steelers? They both want to make it happen, but financially, who has the power in these negotiations?
Matt, to answer your second question first, and Paul, I think you agree with me, the Steelers. They could just cut him, right, and then eat that $19 or $20 million or $21 million, and they don't have to pay him the $19 million. And they can go out and just go with Mason Rudolph and use that $19 million to get a running back and an offensive lineman, or maybe go out and try to sign Bud Dupree or get a corner, right? I mean, that's where the Steelers are in control. Ben would have to take a major pay cut, and I don't know if he's willing to do that. As for your first question, before we get to Paul, I think this all depends on Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think that they're not satisfied with Mason Rudolph. I just think that they don't want to, ruin a legacy, right? They want him to end, just like Art Rooney said today, Paul, they want him to end his career in Pittsburgh on a high note. So that says a lot. They want to break him back around to just do one more tour, Just this is the final tour of Ben Roethlisberger.
Exactly, and that's great. But so we're doing a retirement tour, or are we trying to win? That's what I would like to know. I mean, if you're doing a retirement tour, that's fine, but at least say that's what you're doing. I mean, at the bottom line of that with that is, I don't know that you're doing the rest of your team a service. And I think if Ben doesn't want to play on the terms that they are going to set for him, then he's got to either go somewhere else or retire.
Let's go out to Brad and Cranberry. How you doing, Brad?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. So, quick question. We're talking about Ben's coming back, obviously. The running back play last year was terrible. I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any option that they pursue a running back in free agency or possibly in the draft?
I think for sure, Brad, in the draft. Free agency, you won't see them pursue a top-name guy. Maybe like a guy like Duke Johnson, who just got cut today. Maybe a guy like that, but they're not going to go out and go after one of these big-name running back free agents, Paul. I don't know if you disagree with me here, but I don't think that they want to get into a bidding war with anyone. That's just not their nature.
No, they're going to draft a running back. probably in the first 2 rounds. I would think in the second, maybe the third round at the latest, but probably in the second round. They'll draft a running back, and there's a lot of guys out there. The 2 guys in North Carolina are both really good running backs. The Virginia Tech guy, the dude from Buffalo. There's a lot of guys in
Clemson, Alabama,
this draft. The guys from Clemson and Alabama, let's just say those 2 guys are going to be off the board.
You think
there's going to
before
be
they
a number
even
of, I would think, but there's going to be a lot of other guys available in the second and third round that are really good running backs. I would be shocked if they spent any money on a running back in free agency, other than, like you said, a guy like Duke Johnson, just to bring in, to have somebody to compete.
What about James Conner? I mean, that's definitely the writing's on the wall for him here in Pittsburgh. Do you think he gets an opportunity somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, I think he does, and I think the reason that the writing is on the wall here is because somebody will probably overpay for him. I think if the Steelers could get him back at a really minimum, deal that's, not going to cost them a lot of money, not going to be a big cap hit, they'd probably think about bringing him back, even though, Art Rooney basically said he's not good enough.
Let's go out to Fred in North Huntington. How you doing, Fred?
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Hey, I know, obviously, with the Steelers have a lot of weaknesses, especially on the offensive side of the football. You start thinking about the offensive line, the running game, and there's no doubt those are both problem areas. But one of the things I think that's being overlooked a lot here is the Steelers' special teams the last 2 or 3 years, in my opinion, have been horrible. They get no field position at all, and I don't know if it's the players or if it's the coaches. I'm not very high on Danny Smith. I think that there needs to be some major changes there. I mean, you see a lot of these football teams, they're cutting the field in half a lot of times by getting good field position for their offenses, and the Steelers' special teams are just not cutting it. I'll hang up and listen, guys.
Fred, you bring up a good point, and the major problem with that has been the punter. They can't find – Barry has been awful, right? They finally cut him last year, and the guy that they brought in was worse, so they had to bring him back. That's part of the problem on the one side. And the other side, they were having I can't believe I can't even forget his name. Ryan. They had the worst returners in the NFL for the last couple years until the end of this year.
You mean Ray? I mean,
Ray this year, but who was the guy before him?
Oh yeah, Ryan Switzer.
Ryan Switzer.
I've said before, and I'll say it again. I'm not sure how Danny Smith still has a job. I mean, if you're looking to improve your team, you're looking at areas realistically from above, and you're Art Rooney and Kevin Colbert. I don't know how you could look at this team's special teams for the last 3 seasons and think that it's good enough or anywhere close to as good enough. And maybe it's not just 100% about the players, but by the same token, they use a lot of their varsity players on special teams. They're still not good. So at some point, you fired Randy Fichtner because he wasn't getting it done. You fired Surratt because he wasn't getting it done. How in the world do you not fire Danny Smith? And again, I don't want anyone to lose their job.
Yeah.
But we're talking honestly and frankly here. I mean, this is a guy who hasn't gotten the job done.
All right, now we go to our Tri-State Office Furniture tweet of the night, and this is about Cole Tucker and his girlfriend, Vanessa Hudgens, and it's Jason Mackey who tweeted this earlier tonight. Cole Tucker said Vanessa Hudgens will be around all season. Will be great if she goes all-female Yinzer and screams at Nutting to spend some money. This is coming from Mackey, your colleague over at the Post-Gazette. That's what I think everyone wants, Nutting to spend money. That's what we all want, right?
Yeah, but this year it would make no sense. Wait till a year or two. Wait till a year or two from now when they have a team that's really legitimately ready to compete. And if they don't spend money then, his credibility will be lost forever. I mean, this is really his last shot at proving to his fans that he's legitimately interested in winning.
Yeah. I hope you're right there, Paul. We're going to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls. Some of your tweets coming up next. Stay right there.